Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking my carburetor off my scooter because my scooter hasn't ran in well over a year and a half. So, I'm going to be taking it off and taking it apart, inspecting all the parts to find out what's good, what's bad, cleaning, reassembling it, and putting it back on the scooter. So let's get started. Alright, so in order to get this carburetor off, okay, this carburetor is hooked to an intake tube, which is right here. It's got a clamp and it's got a Phillips screw. Okay, so I have to undo the Phillips screw. So now that that's done, alright, now the next step is to take the throttle cable off. Okay, so this is the throttle cable, and there is a nut on the opposite side of the throttle plate, and there's a nut right here. This is the throttle cable, and it goes through it goes into this groove right here. Okay, turns like that. And right here, right where my finger's tapping or touching right here, okay, this is the end of the throttle cable. In order for me to get this throttle cable off, I got a size 7/16 wrench. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna undo the nut. I'm gonna undo this nut here. All right. Okay, like that. A little bit more, and okay. Now, once I've done that, this nut here opposite actually loosened up too. Okay. So what I do, I do this like this. Okay. So now it's a little tricky. Okay, and then that one's done. Now I take my finger carefully, see, bring down the throttle cable, right? And I take this cable and, oh, wait a minute. Okay, it's a little tricky. There we go. Okay, now what I just did, I pulled back the throttle cable like this, and there's like an opening right here where my finger's tapping. Okay, pull this way, okay, like that, bring it through, drop it down. Okay, now go back over here, okay, and pull that out, and this is what it looks like. Let's connect the auto enrichener. Okay, so here is this is the start of the cable right here. Okay, feed the line. Okay, now if you hear a screeching noise, it's my GoPro claw. Okay, put it down, and here's the other end. Now, right on top of here is like a little red tab. Okay, red tab. I go here, so you push this red tab down like I'm doing here, and pop it off. The step I have to do is pull the carburetor completely off. Okay, now the way I do it, okay, grab a hold of the carburetor, okay, and pull back. So pull it back towards the back of the scooter, like this, and it pops off like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the whole entire carburetor apart, lay all the pieces out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this clamp here. Okay, I have a pair of needle nose. Squeeze it like this. Oh, comes off anyway. Okay, now that's off. So next thing I'm going to do is take the auto enrichener off. Okay, so that way I don't have no wires, so I don't have this wire flapping around and breaking off. And now there is two Phillips screws, one here and one there. Okay, plate comes off with it. Okay, the plate goes exactly like that. Okay, so auto enrichener off. That's off. To take the top of the carburetor off here, because underneath here is a diaphragm. Okay, now there's two Phillips screws. 1, 2. Okay, now I have to be very careful, because if I take this off, if I'm taking off like I'm taking off now, okay, the spring, if I'm not careful, the spring will actually, okay, take the cover off and fly off. okay, and you want to lose the spring, okay. That, okay. Oh. Thing I'm gonna do is take the carburetor bowl off, and there's 1, 2, 3 Phillips screws. Okay, now I'm going to take the float, the main jet, pilot jet, and there's a screw holding this section, holding this piece on. And also, this rod here just flew out.
Or fell out.
Okay, and comes up like that. I take my pliers carefully, exactly how I'm doing it. Give a little turn. Comes out. Now, flathead screwdriver for the pilot jet. That. All right, next, I'm going to take the throttle plate off. There's 2 Phillips screws. 1, 2. There is a fuel mixture screw right there. And that is a flathead screwdriver. Okay. And you just got to be very careful because sometimes when take this out, whoop, sorry. Sometimes when I take this out, sometimes the spring's with it, sometimes it's not. If it's not with it when I take it out, like it's not here, bang it, and there's the screw or spring. Okay. All right. Now there is a plate, or known as cover, with 2 Phillips screws. Okay. Now be aware that there is a spring underneath this cap. Okay. So when I unscrew these screws, okay, I got to put my thumb on like I have here.
Go ahead and unscrew it. Whoops, sorry about that. Flat screwdriver. Okay, whoop, there's one right there.
Right there, and so there's the spring. There's inside the cap. This is the little small diaphragm with a little, I guess what you call a tip on it. All right, I forgot to mention, and I do apologize for this. Okay, there is a little black rubber washer. Okay, it's actually flat on one side, and it's rounded on the opposite side. Okay, this fits right directly in there. Okay, but it actually fits. If you can see that, right at the tip of my finger, fits right in there. So it fits right in there. If you can see that. So right there. This is an overflow tube. Okay. If something's wrong with the float and the carburetor, and the carburetor bowl fills up with too much fuel, and the fuel can't escape only but through here. Okay. So this is held on by a little baby clamp. Okay. A pair of pliers. Squeeze onto a little bit. Okay. It may give me a little bit of a problem because I don't like these type of clamps because they don't work the way I want them to work. So it may end up being replaced with something else. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is that it's actually damaged anyway, which is damaged right there if you can see that. So I'm just gonna pull it off just like that. I got the carburetor bowl again, okay, because there is a plunger here, plunger here, and beyond, underneath here is a diaphragm, and there is a black gasket washer right around here. So what I'm going to do first, 2 Phillips screws holding this plate on. So I'm going to hold it like this. And if I don't hold this firmly in place, okay, what will happen is that this cap will come flying off, and there is a spring, which is supposed to be, if I can try to do it for everybody, goes on just like that, okay? But it compresses down. It'll pling, it'll fly out, okay? And here's the diaphragm right there. Take your finger right here, carefully push right down, comes like that, okay? And here's the gasket, okay? Carefully pull this up, okay? Like that. That comes off. Okay. I forgot again. These little black rubber washers are very hard to remember. So the same thing onto the other one I showed you. Goes just like that. Goes like that. Okay. If these are hard to take out, find like a pick or something. Reach in there like this and pull it straight up and out. So I pretty much got the whole carburetor taken apart, as you see in, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the parts and see if they're any good or not. If they are, then that's good, okay? So first things first, spring, okay? The spring looks in good shape. Now, if this spring was bent, if this spring was like this, okay, or stretched out more, it is damaged. You need to get another one. This one right here seems to be really good. Okay. Diaphragm. Okay. Now, this part right here is hard plastic. Okay. This is plastic. Okay. Actually, I'm sorry. I do apologize. This is actually metal. Okay. This is plastic. Now, the only way to tell if this diaphragm is any good is if you hold it up to direct sun, like any type of strong light, bright light actually, and if there's any holes, okay, the light will shine through it. All right. Okay. So this one right here, okay, I'll even take it off and show you. Okay. See if I can do this and hold the camera up at the same time. Okay. Maybe bright. Okay. Now, see that there is absolutely no light coming through this. Everything looks good, and trust me, and you'll spot it real quick if there's any, if there's any holes, tears, or anything else where light can come through. So this is actually good. All right, now this is the float. Okay, now there is a piece of metal. Okay, looks like I think it looks like a shape of a fork. Okay, the tip of the fork. Okay, now if this little tab, right? Okay, so up close. Right here, if this tab is twisted, bent, or just doesn't look right, this needs to be replaced. Okay. Now, if this spring, same thing. If it's bent, really badly twisted, stretched, needs to be replaced. Okay, diaphragm. Now here is another diaphragm. This is a little baby one. Okay, same exact thing. I'm gonna take the camera off and show you. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, now, okay, you can't. Now, if it's overwhelming, I'm sorry, but there is no holes in it. Everything looks good, so this is still good. Now, if this little black rubber washer, okay, if this was damaged, okay, it would be wore out. It would be wore out, cracked, or just, I guess, wore out, cracked, or just damaged anyway. This needs to be replaced. Now, this right here, like I mentioned before, when I was taking it off, this is the overflow tube. Okay, just rubber. It's an overflow tube. It's got a clamp on it. Now this, okay, here's the clamp. Actually, this clamp's no good, so set that aside. Okay, right You can see that. I'm trying to do so you guys can see it. So right in this section right here is actually damaged. Okay, I could actually see it's all damaged. Okay, this has to be replaced. Okay, now this is the carburetor, or I'm sorry, this is the gasket for the top for the in between the carburetor. Okay, now same thing goes with this gasket. Okay, if this gasket is if it's got creases, like I guess what you call indentations anywhere in here, okay, needs to be replaced. Okay, if it's ripped, again, needs to be replaced. So basically, if this thing is damaged in any way, this needs to be replaced. All right, now this right here is the same thing. This right here is the plunger. Okay, now as you can see, okay, black gasket, metal, neck. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this off. Whoops, sorry about that, folks. Okay, now I'm gonna hold it up. Right now, I don't see no holes, pinholes, or anything, so this is still good. And like I mentioned, like if there is anything, you can see this right off the bat. Okay, this is still good. Okay, same thing. Okay, little rubber gasket. If this was damaged in any way, this has to be replaced. All right, this right here is the auto enrichener. Here is the electrical connection for the auto enrichener. Okay, now if these wires are pulled out in any way, shape, or form, this right here needs to be replaced or can be fixed. Now, if this wire right there, you can see that there's a green, there's a yellow. Okay. Now, if any of these two wires are pulled out from the actual auto enrichener, okay, this needs to be replaced. Now, this is the auto enrichener. Okay, I guess with like a pin needle. Okay, what happens when you first start the scooter up? Okay, the pin. See how it moves back and forth? Okay, when you first started up, like I mentioned, goes this way. It actually disperses more fuel into the motor to keep the motor going at warm up. And when your scooter's all done warming up, okay, it pops back out. Pops back out. Now, if this needle right here is damaged in any way, shape, or form, you need to buy a whole new auto enrichener. All right, now this right here is a fuel stopper. Okay, this goes right there where that gold circle is. Okay, so it actually sits down to just like that. Okay, but like that. All right, now there is a gold. To me it looks like a bullet. Okay, it's like shape of a bullet, whatever. All right, or even like a pencil. Okay, now if this little rubber grommet, okay, right there, is damaged, and you'll know because if there's increases in the rubber part, it needs to be replaced. Okay, if this wire, that little wire right there, if this wire is damaged in any way, then the whole thing needs to be replaced. Okay, now this right here is the fuel mixture screw. Okay, and on it is a spring. Okay, now if this spring is broken, twisted, stretched out, this spring needs to be replaced. Okay, now this is the fuel mixture needle. Okay, and the tip of it, okay, needle with the neck. Okay, now that needle, the tip of the needle right there, if this is damaged in any way, you need to buy a whole new one of these. Okay, and if that happens, most of the time you get the spring and you get the fuel mixture screw at both in a kit. All right, this is the main jet. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew the actual main jet from the tube. Okay, so it's not unscrewing, so I just take my pliers carefully, hold like that, and okay, it broke loose. Unscrew it the rest of the way with my fingers, And so this is the main jet fuel tube, and this is the actual main jet. Okay, now if I wanted to replace this, because there's other main jet sizes, okay, with actual numbers on it. Okay, now if the top of this is damaged to the point to where fuel can't get through that little hole right there, okay, this needs to be replaced. Now, this is, like I said, this is the main jet fuel tube. Okay, fuel goes straight up, or no, actually, I'm sorry, fuel goes straight up, comes out the top of here. This right here is a carburetor drain tube. Okay, so what this does is this part right here gets hooked on the bottom of the carburetor. Okay, now this right here, this you unscrew this flathead screw and fuel actually comes out. All right, now what I do, I put this on here like this. I'm not going to clamp it up, it's only going to come back off again. Okay, then what I do is I unscrew this and unscrew this, and fuel comes out of here. Now what this does is, if I'm going to store my scooter for a long period of time and not actually ride the scooter, and I want to drain all the gas out of the carburetor, okay, that's what this is. All right, now this clamp here comes off, like this, and the spring, okay, well actually, and the spring right here just slides right off like that. Okay, and this is like a little bracket which hooks to the CBT outside CBT cover. Okay, this just pops off like that. Okay, another clamp, squeeze the clamp, pull the clamp back, hold on to this, and pull off, and there you go. That's all it is. Okay, take that clamp off too. Now inspect the tubing for any rips, cracks, tears, because rubber over a period of time, being outside, inside of a garage or whatever, has a habit of dry rotting. Okay, because like I said, fuel goes through here when you want to drain the carburetor out for storage. Okay, so just check for a damage, and this right here seems to be good. So right here I got my ultrasonic cleaner. I got this ultrasonic cleaner for Christmas. I also did a video on this, but I have not. It's edited and already done, just not have posted it. Okay, now I use Simple Green and I use water. Okay, Simple Green is safe to use on carburetors. Okay, safe on plastics, rubbers, metals. Depends on the type of metal. Okay, things like that. Okay, just Google on what you're going to clean just to make sure. But I do know that everything on this table can be cleaned with ultrasonic clean with Simple Green. Okay, so what I do first, okay, is I pour Simple Green. Okay, now right in here there is it says max with a line next to it, and it says minimum, I guess, with a line next to it. Okay, and what I do is I'm going to take the water, actually pour the water in, and keep going right there. Set that cup aside, and take some Simple Green, because it's okay to dilute. It's okay to dilute it, and right there. Okay, so now, all right. Okay, so now that the water Simple Green is in, okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put all these parts in there, like that. I'm not going to even use the wire basket. Drop that in there. Diaphragm, drop that in there. Okay, drop that. Drop that. Everything like that goes in there. Even the cap goes to that. feel needle can go in there. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I have this ultrasonic cleaner. Let me take you off here so I can show you. Now I'm gonna turn it on. Okay. Now it says 180 minutes or 180 seconds. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna raise the time to 300 seconds. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is hit ultrasonic, and there you go. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this go ahead, and I'm gonna let the ultrasonic do its thing, get those all nice and clean. And this is the time, so I'll be back. Alright, so there it is, counting down. 2, 1, and it's done. Now, let's check the results. Back on here. Okay, now I got my paper towel here. Okay. Now the only thing I did different is I put the cover on the ultrasonic cleaner. Okay. Now let's see how good this did, or how good. Not rip it. Okay. Like that. All right. So this is what it looks like. Okay. I think it did a good job cleaning it. The drainage tube for the carburetor, the bracket, this needs to be done a little bit more, but it's actually not that bad. This actually cleaned it up really nice. Yeah, I think it did a good job, especially the fuel stopper. Did good. This, yeah, did a pretty good job. Yeah, diaphragm, cleaned that all up. Okay, next is the actual carburetor. Okay, now there's nothing else on this carburetor to take off. So what I'm going to do now, since this ultrasonic cleaner is not, it's not exactly deep enough for what I need to do. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it just like this. Okay, and I'm going to leave the time for 300 seconds. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit ultrasonic. Okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to clean from the bottom of the carburetor up from what I can get. And then once this 300 seconds is over, then I'm going to go ahead and take it out carefully, of course, because I don't want no water on the workbench, because then it'll start rotting out. Then I'm going to flip the carburetor over, put it back in, do it for another 300 seconds. All right, so now. Okay, now the 300 seconds is over. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the carburetor out. Carefully, of course, because I don't want the cleaner on my table. And now if the table was protected, then I wouldn't really care. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it down, back down in there like so. Just like this. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and set it for, now I'm going to go, now it's back at 300, it's back at 300 seconds. Now I'm going to hit ultrasonic. Okay, now it's going to clean from the other way around. So it cleaned this end, now it's going to clean the opposite end. Alright, so the ultrasonic cleaner is done. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take this carburetor out. Nice and carefully, because like I said, I don't want water all over the workbench. Okay, like that. Get this all nice and clean. Wow, this carburetor's clean. Oh my God, I've never seen a carburetor like this in my life. Okay, now what I'm going to do, okay, so that's, all right. So what I'm going to do is, try to get, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and set it down here. shoot, that is clean. Woo! Boy. All right, now I'm going to work on this. This is the carburetor bowl. Okay? So I'm going to do the same exact thing. Drop that in like that. Okay? Now this one right here, I'm not going to keep it on 300 seconds. I'm going to bring the time down. So I'm going to put this one at... I'm going to put that one at 150 seconds. And hit ultrasonic. And there it goes. Okay? So I'm gonna let the ultrasonic do its thing, and I'll be back. All right, ultrasonic cleaner is now done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take this here out, but I'm not gonna take it out. Okay. Now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this upside down, or flip this upright. Drop that back in. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and it's still set at 150 seconds. Hit ultrasonic. Let it do its thing. Okay, ultrasonic cleaner stopped. I can take this out. Wow. Dang, did a really good job. Okay, flip out the excess water. Okay, set that down. Clean the parts off with the ultrasonic cleaner. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and clean. I'm going to go ahead and clean everything off. But if anybody does this, and if you don't have access, if you don't have an air compressor, okay, such as I do right here, such as I do right here, then if you have access to an air compressor, okay, then you can clean, then you can blow dry. I call it blow dry all the parts off, but make sure they're really clean and dry, because any excess soapy will actually mix it with the gas, and the scooter may run a little abnormal. Okay, so if you don't have access to an air compressor, you could just leave your parts out overnight. They should dry. Okay, just check before you put the carburetor back together. So let's blow dry these parts and get them back together. All right, got my gun right here. Okay. Whoops. Oh, no. I'm going to make sure I always shoot out words. All right, so all the carburetor parts are all okay in the order they are, and they're all 100% clean. Now time to reassemble. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is put the gasket on the carburetor bowl like this. Make sure it's on there. Okay. Because if the gasket's not on this right, it'll leak really bad. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this over, and now this is like a little grommet. Okay, now as you can see, right, hope you can see that this is a smaller size. This is the larger size. Okay, it also has a hole. You can see that right down the middle. Okay, now the part with the part that's wider gets dropped right down in here. So it gets dropped right down there like that. All right. Now this is the main jet. This is the main jet tube. Okay. And it may have to be like wiggle down a little bit, and there we go. Okay, you just have to like shake it a little bit till it seats in place. Take the main jet tube. Okay, put it down like that. Take a pair of pliers carefully. Give a little snug. That's done. And take the pilot jet. Screw the pilot jet down in there. And I just now noticed, folks, the lighting in here is not so good. So, okay, that's that. So what I'm gonna do is switch sides, so that you guys can see. So I do apologize for that. Okay, let me try that now. All right. So I got that in there, that in there. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take the now I'm gonna assemble the float. Okay. So bar goes through like this. This piece right here goes to that little wire part right here. Goes right over the and it can be tricky. It can be there we go, over that like that. Now what I'm gonna do, hopefully you can see this. So this fuel stopper right here, I'm tapping, goes right in there. So it goes in like this. Okay, and the bar sets just like it is. Okay. Flat screw with a flat top. Or flat top, flat head. Flat top. Flat tip. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay. I'm gonna tighten it up. Just like that. Okay. So now that this is all set, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the gasket. All right, now right here, now this, I guess what you call it's like a neck, okay, copper neck. This copper neck right here goes into this hole right here. Okay, so it actually fits just like, if you can see that, just like this. Okay, seats in there like that. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 3 screws. I'm gonna start it. Okay, like this. And this time I'm gonna use my electric screwdriver, or yeah, battery power screwdriver, or however. Okay, take it. One. Now I don't tighten one side down and do the other. I tighten a little bit. So pretty much I tighten each one down a little bit until it gets tight like that. Okay. All right, now that's done. Okay. Now I take. Okay. Now I'm gonna do is take my. All right. Take my fuel needle. Okay. Now this right here. Okay, has two holes down the side. Okay. The hole that's closer. Okay. Actually, I'll do it this way. This hole that's here that's closer, okay, this fuel needle goes right dead center in the middle, okay? And there is also a rubber grommet down there. 90% of the time it doesn't come out, 10% it does. So this tip goes right like down there like that, see? As you can see right there, okay? Now what I do is, now right in here, now I'm going to take this screwdriver, hope you can see that. Now there is a if you see right there. All right, if you look down the carburetor throat, there's a little, I guess like a little grommet sticking out. All right, copper grommet sticking out. Okay. Now this tube, this needle here, actually fits right down in there, just like that. Okay. Now what I do is I take my finger, put it inside of here, turn it until this tab drops down into its place right there. Okay. Now there's a little white little plastic piece. Okay. Now there is a hole right there with 3 little flanges on side. Now the flanges go down, so it goes down just like this. Drop that down. Of course, sometimes it doesn't drop the way it should. And if that needle pops out, which it just did, you just repeat the same process by putting it back in. And lucky enough, it dropped right in place, which is good. Okay, try it again, and boop, it dropped in. Now, if it doesn't drop in, sometimes just take a screwdriver, pry it down like that, or pry it down, push it down like that, seats in place, put your spring. Okay, now there is a neck with my thumbs tapping on. Screw that right there, so it goes just like that. Okay, and it sits just like this. Make sure the cap lines up with the holes. Okay, do this. I don't know why I'm doing it that way when I got the electric screwdriver. Long day. Okay, same thing. Whoop. Sometimes it'll drop. Just be careful when it drops. That hopefully it drops, somewhere where it'll get lost. Do that. That. Okay, now I'm gonna work on the bottom plunger. Okay, so this goes right there. Make sure it seats good. Okay, this little washer goes right there like that. Spring sits right like that. This, whoops. Sorry about that, folks. Butterfingers. I like Butterfingers. Butterfingers are really cool. Anybody out there like Butterfingers? If you do, leave a comment below. I'm really curious if anybody likes Butterfingers. Or the Butterfinger candy, whatever it's called, the bar or something. Okay. Put that like that. And that. Alright, so now that's set. That's set. Okay, so now we have to work on this. Okay, so take the rubber grommet. Put that rubber grommet right there. Okay, right there. Okay. Take the diaphragm piece right there. Put the spring on top. And like I mentioned, so it doesn't fall. Like I did. Put it like that. Now I take the cover right back like this. Okay. And like that. Put one screw in. Try to hold it down so the cover don't fly off, even though there's one screw already started, but still you got to be careful because these things will fly. Fly, fly. Tighten it down. Down. Okay. So now that's it. Okay. Now I'm gonna put the tube on. Now this tube right here, like I mentioned in the video, it's cracked. I actually have a used one, but it's still a good condition. So I'm gonna put this right like that. Okay, good. I'm not gonna bother putting a clamp on it because it's actually on there really good. Yeah, it's on there really good. Okay. Now we're gonna install the fuel mixture screw. Okay, fuel mixture screw, spring. Put the spring over like this. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to apologize to you folks again. Now, there is a little washer, little flat washer. That little flat washer fits. It goes right over it like this. Okay. And it's supposed to seat. I don't know if you can see that. So there's the flat washer, spring. Okay. And now what happens is that the carburetor, if I can do this, put it in there like that. Okay. Get my flathead screwdriver and tighten it up. Okay. Now as I'm tightening this up, it'll start tightening. It'll start getting tighter up. It tightened up right there. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it 1.5 turns out. So that's 1.5. Okay. 1.5 turns is usually the starting point. Okay. Now, not but not least, put the throttle linkage plate on. Okay. Drop that in there. Okay, do this. Okay. Same thing with this. Like that. And voila. All done. Okay. Well, not 100% done. Now, I have to put my automatic choke enrichener on. Okay. Like I explained. Okay. Right down there is a copper tubing down in there. And this needle right here, okay, goes right down inside of there. Okay. Line it up. Take this plate, U-shaped plate. Put it over like that. Line the holes up. Okay. Sometimes it will fit. Sometimes it will just pop in. Other times it won't. But just have to bear with it. It will go. It just sometimes is a pain in the butt. And once I get it started, all right. And once I get it started, I usually just take my screw gun and start like that. There we go. just enough to get it started, so that way the plate won't decide to fly off, but the other screw is holding it on. I had to try to say, that's what I said. Sometimes it's very, very tricky to do this because you got to get it on there just right. Okay, now it's on. Okay, and one more. Okay, so now that's on. Okay, so the last but not least thing I got to do is install these. Okay, so this right here is the this right here, and then the tube is where the fuel comes out of here when drainage. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clamp over this first. Put this on here again because this is still in good shape. Put this right like that. Put the spring over this, and this is what usually takes the longest because I got to try to keep working the spring over the tube. And all this does is, like I said, all it does is the drain tube, but also if I just put this as itself on here, okay, if this touches the motor or gets hooked up into something, it could do damage to the tubing. So that's why this metal thing is on here, like a spring. It's like a metal spring, and it just protects it. Okay, and boom, that's that. Now I go ahead and I put the clamp on. Now I go ahead and put it over that. Done. Okay, put that like that. And not but not least, put this. Now once I put this on, this piece right here, this bracket, may have to come off and be turned around. I'm not too sure until it's on the scooter and get ready to get hooked up. So, okay, that's it. The carburetor is now done. All right, so now we're going to reinstall the carburetor. Okay, now this tube goes out. This drainage tube goes out this way. All right. Okay. This smaller part goes inside the intake manifold. All right. So this gets put in, and it goes in a little hard. Sometimes it goes in hard. You just gotta work it, but just be careful. Okay. Like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the clamp up. First, okay, hold that like that. Hold the clamp. Tighten it up. Sorry about that. I'm trying to do it without actually hitting the camera. There we go. Make sure it's on there, or make sure it's tightened up really good without over tightening it. Okay. Okay, now take the throttle cable, which is this right here. Okay. Now, what I do is I put it through like this. Put it through, and then the linkage. Now this part right here. Okay, let hang. Now there is it now right on the side. All right, so the throttle linkage. So this little, trying to get my hand there for everybody here. This little grommet right here goes right there to the wheel. So what I do is I bring this throttle, do the throttle plate down, or throttle thing down. I pop it through like that, and there it goes. Okay, good. So that's done. Now, now what I do is I bring the nut, this nut right here, forward towards the front of the bike. Okay, and now what I do is I take this grommet, take that nut off, bring it. So basically, it's like a little bit of adjustment. That's all it is. Okay, so what I do is I take my hand up on the throttle, and I basically hold it. Okay, just like that. That's good. Take the nut, slide it, and it can be tricky. Can be tricky. There it goes. There it goes. Okay, so that's like that. Okay, keep doing it. Now, size 7/16 wrench. Put it on. Tighten this up. Okay, just enough. Like don't over tighten it, but tighten up just enough, like that. Okay. Now I take the auto enrichener and basically plug it in, just like this. Boop, that's in. So you hit click, done. And so throttle linkage is set. This is done. The drainage tubes on that side, which it should be. The screws tighten up on the clamp. Everything's all good. Okay, so carburetor is back on the scooter by specs. Everything's good. The only bad thing is that I have to, in another video, I'll have to take the fuel tank off, replace some of the fuel lines or all the fuel lines, and flush the fuel tank out really good because there's a lot of crap built up into it. So once I get that done in the next video, then I can go ahead and put the fuel tank back on, rehook everything all back up, and then put some gas in it, and hopefully it'll run. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you won't miss this thing running, because like I said, this scooter has not ran in well over a year and a half. Okay, carburetor was gunked up pretty bad. The bottom of the ultrasonic cleaner proves it. Okay, so that's it for this video. Again, hit that subscribe button. Can't say it enough. So that way you won't miss the great excitement of this scooter running. Okay, after everything I've been through. Okay, so like, comment, share, subscribe. See you in the next video. Peace.